they have the Tyrann Mathieu card in their back pocket, right? They could sign him on Sunday or Monday, if but they know, I think, that they still have Matthew in play, possibly. So I would probably lean toward the corner with that second pick. And
thanks for streaming on in here on Verse 365. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. While you're at it, we got a couple of new listeners. We got a big streaming crowd tonight with Eagles doing what they did in the draft last night. Do us a favor, hit the like button. We need help with our algorithm again. McMullen understands this better than I do, and he doesn't understand it all that well either.
That's a tone job.
Maybe Ed Kracz can explain it. Why is it important that people hit the like button, Ed Kracz?
Did you mention something about algorithm? Isn't that one of the horses running in the Kentucky Derby next weekend?
There we go.
It is not.
That is a good horse.
I know all the horses in the Kentucky Derby.
That's
None of them were named
name,
algorithm.
Though. That is a good horse name, though. And the more important story today, not Jordan Davis, not A.J. Brown. What time did the head hit the pillow for Ed Kracz last night?
It was probably close to 3:00. Yeah, probably another late one tonight. Although I think Howie did us a favor by trading away that 101st pick. Might get us out of there a touch earlier.
No shot. You're not going to know if he's going to trade into the back end of the third round.
I know. Yeah. You're right. But maybe
he did tell Andy Weidel. He said, "I'll get you back. When he apologized to him." Obviously,
Did Andy Weidel
comedy
say,
show?
Don't pick it, Howie. Don't sweat it.
Yeah, I'm heading to Pittsburgh next week anyway. I'm going to be with the Steelers.
I'm out the door. Enjoy Jordan Davis. I'm out the door.
Yeah. That's, it's interesting. I mean, what kind of moves can he make?
Well, you have players. What are we going to see? Jalen Reagor move? We're going to see Andre Dillard, even Nate Herbig. I'll throw him in there. Now that he signed his tender, Eagles could trade him. This is an offensive line deficient league. We know that. Could they trade some players to get some extra picks?
Yeah, once you start dealing with trading offensive linemen, then you have to probably draft an offensive lineman with whatever pick you get.
They're deep. They're deep. You have LaRaven Clark.
Yeah, well, like I said, once you start trading offensive linemen, you're going to have to replenish those. But I could see Jalen Reagor, but what are you going to get for Reagor realistically? And same with Andre Dillard. You probably can get a little bit of something for Andre Dillard. But again, I don't know how you get back these draft picks that you traded away yesterday. And I'm not saying it was the wrong move to trade away. What was it?
No.
5 picks, I think.
5 picks, yeah. Essentially 5 picks, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I thought they had a home run of a first round, in my opinion, and it required 5 picks to make that happen, and so be it. If you can get back into the draft with a couple more today and tomorrow, then that's even better yet. But, you still have 4 cracks at the draft here in these next 2 days, and there's going to be some good players. And then it's supposed to be a pretty good undrafted free agent group too. And they always seem to do, find 1 or 2 guys in that territory that help them. Jack Stoll last year, TJ Edwards was one, Corey Clement was another, so they do pretty well in that scouting area of the undrafted guys. So, but I have no complaints with them parting ways with some of these picks.
And we won't know about the undrafted group, as you stated, till Saturday. Yeah, Saturday night, the names will start trickling in on Sunday. And the reason why it will be a better group than it usually is COVID. They gave guys extra years, so guys stuck around a little bit longer. They're going to be guys who are going to already be 23, 24 years old, so you're going to need to at least give them a shot to come in and play because they're not as young as some of the other guys. Shoot, the Eagles will sign an undrafted free agent who's older than A.J. Brown. And, oh, by the way, A.J. Brown's already logged 3 years in the league. So it's a different kind of group, but I think you're right. There could be some gems in that undrafted free agent group. A.J. Brown, how is he going to fit with the Eagles? We know the Eagles are going to throw the ball now. Everybody likes to say, well, we make our decisions on what the players are capable of doing on the field. Don't kid yourself. The kind of contract that they sign absolutely have an impact on how they are used and how you plan to use them. The Eagles will throw the ball more this year. How does A.J. Brown fit into that Nick Sirianni / Jalen Hurts mix?
Very nicely, I would say. They are going to throw him the ball, and listen, now teams can't really kind of gang up on Devontae Smith. Say, okay, we got to just take Devontae out, and then what does he have? Quez Watkins, Dallas Goedert to an extent, but now you have to honor both sides of the field with Brown and Smith. And Nick talked about it last night. A.J. Brown is a very strong receiver. He's 6'1", 225 pounds, good play strength. He wins his one-on-one matchups. He's been highly productive his 3 years in the league. He's got 24 touchdown catches already. So, he's going to be used all over the field between the 20s, inside the red zone. And I think he's going to help Devontae Smith, and he should make Jalen Hurts a better quarterback.
Yeah, he should. And that's going to be, one of the things, and I'm with you, Ed. I think the first round was a home run from the Eagles' perspective. I started the show saying Eagles fans need to acknowledge, to use Roman Reigns. I'll give my wrestling reference of the day for Jody McDonald. Howie Roseman is one of the better GMs in this league. But it does put some pressure on Jalen Hurts. I mean, now it's not about, hey, building around. Well, you got Devontae Smith, you got A.J. Brown, you got Dallas Goedert, you got Miles Sanders in the backfield. Go do it. Any negative thoughts from that perspective?
No, I don't think. There should be pressure on Jalen Hurts. You just can't keep saying, "Oh, well, he didn't have enough receivers, he didn't have enough weapons, his offensive line didn't hold up." There can't be any excuses. You need to find out about him, because one of the good things the Eagles did and Howie Roseman did was they didn't have to give up any draft capital next year, so they still have 2 first-round picks next year. Now, it's funny, they came into the first round this year in the offseason with 3. They only used really technically 1 to take a player.
Hey, remember how much we talked about they came into this whole thing, Ed, with 15, 16, and 19. They didn't use any of those picks. They picked it. We talked, who are they taking at 15, 16, 19 for weeks and weeks and weeks. They didn't take any of those picks. They took a pick at 13, and that's it. And they got A.J. Brown and the first round pick next year.
Yeah, and a second round pick in 2024. Yeah. This team is just beefed up with draft capital, and that's what I like too. Is they gave up these picks, but it's not like, and Howie said all draft picks aren't created equal, and he's right. He didn't give up 6 first round picks here. He didn't give up any first round picks really. He did for A.J. Brown, I guess you could say, but for a 24, almost 25-year-old receiver that's had the kind of production. He's not a projection like a Jameson Williams would have been, or a Chris Olave, or Drake London. Any of these receivers in this draft, he is a proven commodity in the NFL. But it is funny that they had all this capital, and I think Howie did a great job, getting players. Jordan Davis, to me, I don't understand some of the fans. They think they're experts in defensive line play from the University of Georgia, or nose tackles, but I love this kid. He was the best defensive tackle in the draft, and we can talk about him, but I really liked that Jordan Davis pick, and Howie knew and I asked Howie that last night, was he fearful that the Ravens were going to grab him at 14? And he said, no, not really. But he was. Another
Howie Roseman lie. If he didn't think he was going to the Ravens at 14, then you just said at 15 and take him. Come on.
Right. No, right. The Ravens would have snapped him up in a heartbeat. And listen, Baltimore's no slouch in the front office. If they like Jordan Davis can play.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right with the Georgia stuff, because, Georgia's a very unique situation. They had so much talent on the defensive line, the defense as a whole, really. They just rotated guys in and out. The transfer portal at the college level is key, because you want to keep guys. They already lost Jermaine Johnson. They know what that's like. So they have all these kids they have to play. And the NFL is going to be a little bit different because the NFL, you don't have that advantage where you have so much better talent than your opponent. So he is going to have to play more. And one of the things I love about Jordan Davis is he got tired of people asking him, are you just a 2-down player? Or, can you play 3 downs? And that's why he got in this great shape, 350-pound guy. He's running a 4.78. He's got a tremendous vertical leap. He's a unicorn from an athletic standpoint. That tells me that he understands what he needs to get better at, mainly conditioning. But when he's on the field, this guy's a difference maker, Ed.
Yeah, his conditioning and his pass rush. He needs to work on the pass rush moves too, right? I mean, he's not going to be some giant sack guy. I mean, defensive tackles just by nature aren't typically double-digit sackers, but he can collapse the pocket from the inside, and really, that's where quarterbacks hate to have their pressure is right in their face, right up the middle, and he can collapse the middle and maybe make it a little bit easier for guys on the edge like Barnett, Graham, Sweat, who's ever out there, maybe somebody they add today or tomorrow. It's going to help them a little bit. And listen. And people talk about him being a 2-down guy. Fletcher Cox, people forget Fletcher Cox, when he was drafted, he only played 49% of the snaps. It wasn't like he came in and was, playing 80% of the snaps. That didn't happen until the following year. But I think Davis can be a 49, 50% snap player this season, just like Cox was. And Cox wasn't some big pass rush specialist at Mississippi State. He only had 5 his last year there, 2.5 in his last, 7.5. In his last 2 seasons at Mississippi State. So, he got better in that area. And I think that what they like about Davis is, obviously his explosion, but I think they like his passion for the game. And I think that's what's going to drive him to become a better player and reach that ceiling that the Eagles envisioned for him when they drafted him at 13.
All right, Ed, I'm going to ask you to get your Howie Roseman prediction glasses on here.
Okay.
Crystal ball was the word I was looking for and couldn't come up with. Look at your Howie GM crystal ball.
Okay.
These players are available to the Eagles at 51 today. I do not think Booth, the cornerback from Clemson, will be there. I think he'll be off the board. The Eagles now, because of the 2 trades they had made yesterday, unless they're going to include a Dillard or a Rager, and I don't know how much value they have, along with a pick, I don't think they can move up in the 3rd round. They're locked in at 51. These guys are on the board at 51. Kyler Gordon, 2nd best cornerback out of Washington. Roger McCreary got the SEC experience, and I know some people that thought he was better than where a lot of people have him ranked. They had him as like the 4th or 5th cornerback rather than the 8th or the 9th. And Jaquan Brisker from Penn State. 2 corners and a safety. For me, the best player is the Penn State kid at safety, but will the Eagles prioritize cornerback over safety? If all 3 of those guys are on the board, which name are the Eagles calling out at 51?
Well, I think if you look safety, they have the Tyrann Mathieu card in their back pocket, right? They could sign him on Sunday or Monday, but they know, I think, that they still have Mathieu in play, possibly. So I would probably lean toward a corner with that 2nd pick. And, I'm not really in love with McCreary. I don't think he's got that length. A guy I really like, and 51 would probably be too rich for him. Maybe 83 is this kid Tariq Woolen from UTEP. He's a 6'4". He's got almost 34-inch long arms. He to me is probably, in my opinion, the best cornerback still on the board. Not named Andrew Booth, like you said. Booth won't be there. And I like Brisker an awful lot, but the Eagles could pull the trigger on a corner. And which corner would that be? McCreary? I just don't know if that really gets me or maybe some others is that excited. I would love to see Tariq Woolen maybe in the 3rd round if he's there at 83. And maybe with this pick, you go for somebody that's not a cornerback. Maybe you go for, Cam Jurgens, like, the center from Nebraska. Maybe
they love Cam Jurgens.
They love
Yeah.
Cam Jurgens, but they also like Lewis Seen, who went, the last pick of the first round. They loved a lot of guys. But, you could see maybe an edge rusher. Maybe they bring another defensive lineman in with this pick. Maybe like a Nick Bontito from Oklahoma or Arnold Ekabidi from Penn State. Maybe they go in that direction. But, boy, it's so hard to look at this team now and see that hole at cornerback opposite Darius Slay. But listen, they had that problem a few years ago, too. They didn't have a starting corner, and they ended up bringing in Ronald Darby in August. So
they had the problem last year and brought in Steve Nelson 2 days before camp.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I don't know.
Last year we were all like, when are you getting a quarter, Howie? When are you getting a corner? And he didn't get one till the 4th round. And we're like, oh.
Yeah. And we could see that type of thing again. I mean, if they don't have a corner ranked as high on their board, just take the best player. And if it's Jaquan Brisker and he's a safety and you had Tyrann Mathieu out there, well, okay, then you don't have to pay Mathieu the money because you have Brisker. Or if it's, an edge rusher or a Jurgens, if they just stay to their board and take the best ranked player, I can't imagine that it would be Mccreary as their top ranked player if those options are available.
Well, I'm going to ask you to keep the glasses on. So Jody gave you 3 players. I'm going to give you 3 players at 51. My early prediction, very early prediction, subject to change, is that the corners are coming off right away. Andrew Booth, 33 to the Buccaneers. Kyler Gordon, 34 to Minnesota.
Yeah.
If that happens, you mentioned the kid from Texas, San Antonio. He's more of a 3rd-round pick. Jody mentioned a little bit of McCreary. But I look at these players. One already mentioned, Brisker and Cam Jurgens, who we already mentioned. But I'm going to throw David Ojabo in the mix. Could the Eagles go if David Ojabo falls to 51, coming off the torn Achilles? We know they had experience with this, but just because Sidney Jones plays it and he plays a different position and all that, and it didn't work out, and people point to that. Well, guess what? Landon Dickerson had a longer injury resume than anybody in the history of college football, and he worked out. So they've been willing to take these kinds of gambles in the 2nd round. Do you think they take the gamble with a player they probably would have considered at 15 in this particular draft when everything started?
Well, it's interesting. An Achilles, I don't think Landon Dickerson ever had an Achilles.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, one thing the Eagles have seen up close with Achilles injuries is they've had players that have had them. The most recently, Brandon Graham. So they can kind of get a gauge on how that rehab has gone for him. Brandon Brooks had 2 Achilles, so they saw how that rehab went with him. I could see Ojabo in play, but boy, I think you got to get somebody that can help you this year, to be honest. And Ojabo is not going to do that. I mean, he's a 2023 guy, but I think, I know we all think this year now is kind of it's not a Super Bowl type season, but I think after what the Eagles did yesterday and getting A.J. Brown, I mean, I think you have to recalibrate a little bit of the expectation for the Eagles this season. I think, I'm not saying they're going to go to the Super Bowl, but I think they can really be a threat to win the NFC East, get a home game, and maybe win a couple games in the playoffs, and you never know.
Yeah, we're ready. We're not ready has turned into we're ready in 24 hours, Jody.
A.J. Brown will do that to you, Johnny Mac.
A.J. Brown is, and now they have 2 really competent receivers.
Yeah.
So, maybe you recalibrate your thinking a little bit as to, what this team can be in 2022, and Ojabo is not going to help this team in 2022. So I'd like to see them go out and get somebody that can help them, immediately show up in training camp and threaten to get plenty of snaps once the season starts.
By the way, you should be Howie's PR guy, because right there should be the bullet point. We're not ready turned into we're ready in 24 hours because of Howie Roseman.
Well, I didn't say they're ready. I said this, you could say, we can now maybe make a little bit of a run in the playoffs here with A.J. Brown. I mean,
hey, if you win a couple games in the playoffs, you're making a run, buddy.
Yeah.
You're making a run.
Okay, well, then I guess the Eagles might be ready. I mean, you're right, Jody. That's what A.J. Brown does. I mean, that guy is one of the best, and he's the 4th highest paid receiver now in the NFL, and you don't pay those guys that kind of money to say, okay, hey, we're going to wait till 2023, and we're not going to really help out the team this year. Let's go get some help now. Let's get a player that can help this team in 2022 with this second round pick.
All right, I got to pimp you a little bit, Ed. And while I'm at it, I'll pimp our buddy Rick Serratello, who was on with us yesterday.
We were talking about this yesterday, Jody.
Yeah, Malik Willis to the Eagles. Didn't happen, wasn't ever happening. Malik Willis to nobody is what the first round of the draft ended up being. Don't know why you went there, Kracz. Don't know why Serratello went there. I'm telling you, the kid's a projection. There was no way he was going in the first round. He didn't. All right, now we're in the second round. The Eagles have needs. Yeah. You're not doubling down on us, are you, Kracz? That the Eagles are going to get in position to draft Malik Willis. If you were to take him at 18, 19, whatever pick you had, the Eagles taking him off the board. What a steal he would be at 51.
Yeah, no, I was more a Sam Howell guy. He was my quarterback choice.
Oh, you weren't Willis? I just remember you saying Eagles
that was Rick.
In the first round,
but it was funny. Jody, we had Rick on our show in the morning, and then Rick did his show, and he had Ed on, and he mentioned us and how he's getting ripped in the chat room.
He said he went on the Mac and Mac show earlier in the morning, and he got vilified for suggesting that. And listen, I know Rick, great guy, but he is a little crazy, and I thought that was a little over the top with Malik Willis. There was no chance for taking him. I mean, I feel bad for the kid. He's still sitting in the green room with Nakobe.
Yeah, he was the one green room guy.
Yeah, well, I think Nakobe Dean was another one.
Oh, was he?
Matt Corral was a green room guy. I don't know why Matt Corral was there in the green room. I didn't see him going in the first.
I thought he might go 32, Matt Corral, before Detroit traded up.
The Lions traded out. Yeah,
monster deal to get Williams. But no, Jody, they're not going to take Malik Willis at 51. I've even come out of the trees on Sam Howell at 51. I'm afraid I don't see them taking a quarterback. Boy, and now with 4 picks left, I definitely don't see them taking a quarterback or a punter. Everybody loves Matt Araiza.
Yeah, that's out the door too.
Yep, that's out the door. Now you have to be a little bit more laser focused on, some of the guys that are on your board that are better than these guys. You know what I mean? Like, they only got 4 picks. Had they had 6 like they were supposed to have, or whatever that number, then maybe they'd go with a quarterback or the punter. But that's not going to happen.
No, it isn't going to happen. They do have to be more laser focused onto needs. Unless, and Howie gave that little nudge to Andy Weidel, as I mentioned, and said, hey, I'll get you back. Is he going to get him back? Is he going to get more picks? And I mentioned the players, but, how do you turn more? You're just moving down, right? So can he move from 51 down to somewhere in the 60s, add some picks that way? Do you think we're going to see more movement from Howie Roseman? That's the one thing where Rick was right, Rick Serratello. Howie does some crazy stuff. And I joked to Jody, I should have realized this at the time. When I got to the NovaCare complex yesterday, Ed, you were already there. I was getting situated in my cubicle. Around the corner comes Peter King, gives me the big hello. I'm like, what the heck is Peter doing here? Could be anywhere, right? And there's, the Giants had 2 picks in the top 10. The Jets had 2 picks in the top 10. The Packers, a Super Bowl contender, the Chiefs in the bottom of the round, they both had 2 picks. He chose Philadelphia. I think he chose Philadelphia because he knew fireworks were coming. And that's Howie. So is he going to be moving all over the board again today in day 2?
Well, he's certainly going to try, and you're right. You kind of, there was that buzz. Peter King, a very reputable reporter, and NFL Network had their little stage set up outdoors on a frosty night. Sal Palantonio was there. I mean, there was a lot of buzz just from the firepower in the media house, if you will. So you figured something was going to happen, and then when the Panthers didn't. They didn't trade with the Panthers at 6, where there was a lot of buzz with that, or the Giants at 7. You thought, well, maybe nothing's going to happen. And then, bam, all of a sudden, up to 13. AJ Brown, here we come. So I think Howie will certainly try to move. But what do you, other than Rager and Dillard and maybe, like you said, Herbig, although I don't see that. What are you gonna trade to get another pick or to move up? I mean, you almost are looking at this point at next year's draft capital. You might have to give up some picks next year, and you're not going to do it.
Well, I was thinking more trade downs. So if you trade down from 51 to say 60 and add some more, maybe another third round pick or something of that nature, just to get some picks populated, because you do still have needs. You need a corner, you need a safety, you need a backup tight end, you need a backup running back. You still need bodies that fill these particular positions.
Yeah, that's certainly the case. I mean, that's not as exciting as moving up, man. I like hitting the gas. I like keeping my foot on the gas pedal and climb, go faster, go up the board. But you're right; they could go back in the one of these rounds. 51 and 83. They could try to parlay that into another pick or two. Wouldn't surprise me, but they didn't make their picks in the first round like we thought. At those spots, and they probably won't do that again today. We're getting Jordan Davis in the facility today. I can't wait to meet this guy. I know you met him out in Atlantic City, right, John? And I didn't see him at the combine. I didn't go to his podium, but I can't wait to see 6'6", 350.
Dude, he's a big dude. First off the bus, as Nick said, it's going to be Jordan Davis and AJ Brown. But by the way, that's a slight to Jordan Mailata.
I was going to say, what about the other Jordan, man? 6'8", 380. You put those two guys first off the bus, and maybe in high school football that scares teams, but nobody's going to be afraid of that.
No, they're scared. Nick's still in high school.
I don't think the intimidation thing's going to work. I hate to do this, but I'm going to end on a glass half empty note with you. Are you ready for more Derek Barnett playing about 45% of the snaps for the Philadelphia Eagles this year? Johnny Mac knows that was the one thing that scared me. When they re-signed Derek Barnett, not a fan. I know he came at a team-friendly price, but that's only compared to what some quote-unquote experts thought he was going to get on the open market. The open market spoke and said, yeah, you're a $4 million player, not an 8 or a multi-year contract type player. I'm not excited about seeing Derek Barnett play again this year for the Birds, and I said, if they pass on one of those good defensive ends, will we give Howie Roseman a hard time for it? Jermaine Johnson was sitting there when they moved up to get Mr. Davis. Are you ready for another year of Derek Barnett jumping off sides, Eddie Kracz?
What, hitting quarterbacks out of bounds, or after they got rid of the ball? Listen, I'm higher on Derek Barnett than probably most people are. I mean, 25-year-old player. I think he's 25, but am I that excited? No, I'm not that excited, but I mean, this guy can give you something. He'll be in the rotation. It's not a very deep rotation. So again, I think they need to find somebody, but he's better than some guys in the league. I mean, he's frustrating. Yeah, I'll give you that. But I'm not down on Derek Barnett. I think he can still contribute. He only had 2 sacks last year. Very, very bad year for him. But
2.5, I think. 2.5.
Yeah, I shortchanged him there.
Don't shortchange him that.
Yeah. Can he be any worse than that? I don't think he can. I think he'll get more than that sack-wise this year.
And by the way, Jody put 45. I'm fine with 45. The concern is it's up at 60, 65. Then I got a concern. If he comes down as a rotational player, 45, I think that's fine. I'll leave you here, Ed. Follow Ed at Kratzy on Twitter, si.com/NFL/Eagles. You can read all our draft coverage there. The NFC East, Washington, oof. Dallas, oof. But the Giants, scare me a little bit. Now, you had 2 picks in the top 10. It should scare you, but they get Kayvon Thibodeau and Evan Neal. That's pretty good. We might not be able to overlook the Giants as much in the upcoming months.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, big changes in the front office, new GM, new head coach. They actually had a plan, but it's awfully hard to screw up picks 5 and 7 in the top 10. I mean, you don't almost have to be I don't know, just a bad bad decision maker if you're going to screw those up. I mean, yeah, you expected the Giants to make 2 good picks, and they rebuilt both sides of the line. Good for them, but you still have Daniel Jones as your quarterback. Let's see if Brian Daboll can find a way to, get something out of him. But he still has the propensity to turn the ball over. So yeah, the Giants got better, no doubt about it. But I think the Eagles got better too. And you know who else got better? The Jets Jets.
Yeah.
I'm worried about that last preseason game, that preseason finale the Eagles always play against the Jets.
You're not yet. Yeah, the preseason finale. Even you're not going to get to see Ahmed Gardner or Garrett Wilson or Jermaine Johnson. They're not even going to play those guys.
I love Ahmed Gardner. I think he's the best player in this draft. He's phenomenal. I think he's another Revis Island, right?
Ooh,
I mean, he's gonna lock down that one side
I don't think Darrelle Revises exist anymore in the modern NFL. I think they hamstring too many corners that you're not allowed to do anything. So I don't think Darrelle Revis can exist anymore.
Yeah, well, I think Gardner's going to push for that title. It would have been great for the Eagles to find a way, but Jody, I'm happy for you. You got the sauce, and he's going to make the Jets better.
Jets had the best draft night. Eagles maybe second, Giants maybe third. Best draft night one. Jets.
Not the Commanders, not the Cowboys,
not the Commanders or the Cowboys. And I will borrow from my buddy Jim Nance, a tradition like no other. Jets Eagles preseason finale. Doesn't get any better than that.
Can't wait. I already got it circled.
Eddie Kracz, always a pleasure, buddy. Thanks for hopping on. I know McMullen will see you later in the day. It was good to see you here with us on Birds.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Ed Kracz, Sports Illustrated, here with us on Birds 365. All right, J-Mac, McMullen and McDonald coming back to put a bow on the show.